Hey everyone, welcome back. It's Lucid, and we're back with another turn. So we have a global getting dispelled when another thing went up, and I believe this is Gift of Health getting dispelled. So we used to have Gift of Health; we were the proud owners of it, uh, and yeah, we also cast Arcane Nexus. So if you watched the last episode, you got to see us dump 1,200 pearls into this. And so that went up, and yeah, we actually denied, I believe. So they cast obviously a tremendous amount of gems in Gift of Health, and they were expecting to get a rebate for it because they just put up Nexus. And the turn you put up Nexus, you don't get any gems. So if you want to get a rebate for a spell you cast with Nexus up, you need to cast Nexus, wait a turn, or wait for the, you're going to cast that turn, hit end turn. The next turn, the first turn that Nexus is up at the start of the turn, you can cast your spell and you'll get the gem rebate. So, and maybe they had one turn they could have snuck it in a turn earlier or something. I can't remember. They might have waited. But anyway, they waited too long because it was enough time for Ulm to send me gems and for us to cast Nexus. And so they missed out on the reimbursement from putting up Gift of Health. And I think I had min cast it. I did not put much into Gift of Health. And it kind of paid for itself already, like in terms of just getting some tarts converted was kind of nice. Got some afflictions off my dudes. So not too sad about losing it. It also gives you an idea of what they may have been thinking. Anytime an astral nation controls Gift of Health and Nexus, you can expect Armageddon. So we definitely don't want them having both of those. And that's a pretty good, like, little view into their world. It's almost certain that with this path combination, like what was happening here, Armageddon spam was going to come. Now, maybe the player didn't or wouldn't, but I'll just tell you, if you're in a game and somebody has Nexus and they have Gift of Health, the next thing coming is about 5 or 6 casts of Armageddon. And if you're a nation like Ulm, first of all, it's going to put almost everybody into like being upkeep constrained, so they won't be able to recruit anything. It'll cut their income in half at least, which for most nations will make it where you don't make any money. For us, we'd probably still make a little bit, but we have, because we've been doing the intelligentsia purges and most everything we have is sacred, our upkeep to income ratio is kind of low. So that's one of the effects. The other effect is if you're a blood nation, it's going to destroy your blood economy. Yeah, it's going to be just ruthless what it does to blood. So if you're late age Ulm and you're the last blood nation in the game, now whether they would have cast it right away, like while they were fighting me, who knows? But they probably would have cast it like once I was dead into Ulm. And Armageddon is actually one of the things I'm very worried about with this build, because one of the problems when you convert to Solus is they have this nifty never heals tag. It's kind of set, it says they'll never heal their hit points when they have access. Magic never heals. Wait, magic never heals beings. Will regain their hit points when they have access to a laboratory. This I don't think is true, because like this guy's got a maximum hit points of 16, and they'll do it, with 12. It's not going up. So it does work like that for certain types of things, like maybe a golem or like a Garthan statues will heal when they have labs. But for whatever reason, Solus type units basically just never heal. Even when they have the access to a lab. That might actually be a bug. Maybe there's some other tag here that interacts with it, but I don't think this is explained by the tooltip. So this actually probably is a bug. I don't even know. If it's not a bug, it's a tooltip bug. Yeah, because you can be inanimate and still heal. Yeah. But, yeah, I'm not actually sure how this... Yeah, it's not explained in the tooltips, and I'm pretty sure it only comes from this Never Heals tag. Anyway, where I was getting at is that even though these guys have a reasonably high base HP of 16, they tend to come out with less than 16, as you've seen from these guys, 10 and 12. Means they'll get killed by Armageddon. Furthermore, if they're lucky and they have like a nice protection roll or something, and they survive Armageddon... Armageddon's, I think, like 14 armor-piercing damage, something like that, maybe 15 armor-piercing damage. Anyway, if they survive it, they're going to lose hit points. And the hit points they lose are permanent. So we will lose our whole soulless factor. It's actually one of the things I was most worried about, because it would wipe out a ton of these. Now, in Dominion 6... you don't have to worry about it, because you'll get white mages, which are a better chassis, but they're going to be feeble-minded and stuff, so you have to have your own things to deal with that. You know, so that's an issue. But they'll heal, so you don't have to worry about Armageddon killing them, which is that was probably my number one worry, was Armageddon getting cast and killing my dudes. But nobody really knows that I have the soulless armies, so they don't know. We would get by. You know, Armageddon doesn't hit everybody. We would keep converting people. It would slow our factory down, but it's also going to wipe the things from the map. And the other thing is nobody's going to want to cast it now, because guess who's got a 1200 cast of Arcane Nexus? Ulm and I do. And we're splitting this 50-50. I'm sending Ulm back his Robe of the Magi, the gems from the little pool down here. And we had our first... anyway, that was the most important thing in the turn. Was the Nexus steal was successful. He took my Gift of Health, but he's not going to have it in time to do Armageddon spam. And, yeah. It's actually kind of interesting for me to think back on this. If Ulm hadn't partnered with me and had partnered with them, they might have delayed doing Armageddon until they had killed me. And I probably would have killed them, all three of them. I think. I mean, you know, anything can happen, but I'm really strong right now in the game. So, I don't think they would have done Armageddon spam. But there's a chance that, because if Ulm had joined them, I don't think he would join them if they were doing Armageddon spam, because he would just kind of lose. Like, his thing is blood, and you can't do blood when you don't have population. So, yeah, I think he would... Yeah. Anyway. I don't know if there's a world where they really do get... Because if Ulm stays with me, we're going to split Nexus. If Ulm leaves, he wouldn't leave me and join them unless they didn't spam Armageddon. So I don't think it was actually a huge risk in this game. I was trying to think maybe there's some alternate reality where Armageddon gets spammed and we play from that. I don't think that would have happened here. And we've got Nexus now, so that's huge. For battles, we send, I think there's our Harmonica Golem. Yeah. Jumping in, calling some big horrors. They have Care here. This is a unit that Arco can get. It's a national unit. You get them as troops, and you have to Gift of Reason them. And then you get a Blood Hunter, which is kind of cool. We killed 3 of them, though, as well as a lot of the chaff. So that's nice. We take this. There's almost no PD here. And we're trying... This is our Pokemon Golem. So... Oh, we just Soul Slay this guy. Let's see what he had. Your super combatants are not safe for me. Okay, this guy didn't even have gear. Had some buffing script like he was going to do something. Sorry, sir. Illegal. We found a broken tower. 2 death gems. It's quite nice. Oh, Record of Creation. People want to see that. Nothing. Okay. So, on to the main battles. We attack here. There's nothing. We're going to just click through here. And if I see something interesting... like this. So this was really weird. Yellow Cave. So I attacked here. I wonder if somehow like I disrupted movement or something. Because We actually had the sylphs on our side, and they jumped back here and murdered all the mages turn 1. I think they were trying to do a communion or something. But they just get deleted by the sylphs. The sylphs are really spooky. You can't see them because they're glamored. So usually they'll surprise people. But here we killed a ton of them. I can't figure out what troop movement I disrupted. We just did a normal phase move here. The place we magic phased attacked, which was this with the golem, they couldn't move here. And then these places, yeah. This wasn't a magic phase attack either. So I think he misscripted this, like misclicked. I'm like 99% sure there was supposed to be an army here, but I don't know what army, because I don't think there's an army inside. So it must have had to come from one of these other provinces. Now, last episode, or maybe episode before, I had mentioned that Arco had a blood economy, and there were just some provinces, some other ones. So here you can start to see the extent of it, and it's pretty intense. So we killed 4 blood hunters here. There was 3 cur and a vampire lord. And then here you can see just an enormous pile of soulless and a mount fiend. There's almost certainly vampires here. Their god is here. Presumably there's vampires here as well. These are 2 more. I'm like 99% sure these are both blood hunting provinces. So, or if they're, I don't know, maybe they're moving the armies around too. Who knows? But anyway, clearly this is a lot of blood hunting infrastructure. So Arco's been getting that virgin blood and using it for some foul rituals. So yeah, that's a kind of interesting side note here. So that was Nethermark. This was the one we just saw. We got another one here. Okay, so I think that's it. So there weren't any major battles, and I haven't moved out major high commitment things. My highest commitment thing was definitely this, which was 420 Tomb Worms, wink wink. And we had some Sarumancers, a Tomb King, a Windmaster, and then his Sylphs. And it's honestly nothing too fancy. But, you know, we're doing Rigor Mortis and Darkness and whatnot. This actually is in a cave. I don't know if we need to do Darkness. Okay. So, presumably they're going to come fight us. We're going to go ahead and storm. These are certainly not the kind of armies that you want to use to attack something like we have here. I mean, the chaff would just get absolutely annihilated. And furthermore, he's misclicked and killed a ton of his mages. So, presumably, there's not going to be too much behind the fort walls either. He could magic phase stuff inside. But, I don't know. I mean, nothing here is that important if we lose it. So, we're just going to go ahead and storm and see what happens. Meanwhile, we're just putting up kind of loose pressure. This is low commitment stuff. Just about 120 worms and some chaff. And we're moving that on top of this fort. This is pretty similar. By the way, we're using Lizard Kings for blessing. I don't want to use my Tomb Kings. Tomb Kings are more for like more proper armies. We've got one here, but happy to use the slow to recruit Lizard Kings for this job. So they're going to come down here, attack. It's going to be great. The Golem is resetting. Where this Golem is not a raider, he's a super combatant killer, as you can see here. And we pinged this to just see what he's patrolling with, which is just a tremendous number of mages, but not a lot of troops. So he's got a lot of troops, but they're not patrolling. I might be hitting this with a magic phase attack. I can't remember. But basically, the name of the game here, we're also moving in here with a proper army. So, like weapons of sharpness on some of these guys. We've got Skeletal Legion, quickening going on some of them too. I think we probably are trying to do quickening on the same guys we're hitting weapon of sharpness with. And then Army of Gold. So these are all pretty big casts. we've got rigor mortis as well. I don't think we have darkness going up, which is a bit of a mistake. But this is a capital. This would be really nice to get. And then we're rolling out with another moderate little raiding force here, set up to do soul slay and other stuff, so that, you know, it's going to be good against easy kind of chaffy small army PD, but it's also going to be quite good against super combatants and thugs in case we run into, like, yeah, I don't know, a Wraith Lord. So that will be fun. Yeah, we're basically going gas, 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 hitting on all these cylinders here. Up north, Arco has kind of pulled back. He's gotten off of this fort, which he was sieging, and we're going to move in and take it, because we have a proper army here. So we're going to be doing Army of Gold, Darkness, Anti-Magic, Skeletal Legion, and Rigor Mortis. And that's basically our little combo. And we've got a tremendous number of worms. So these are basically these are like medium high commitment armies. So could Arco kill this? Yes. But it's usually going to be at a very high cost. I don't think there's efficient ways to kill it. And everything here is more or less replaceable. This is not cheap, though. If this army dies, especially if they kill the commanders, it will be a very significant blow. Like, it's going to hurt, but we can recover from it in a turn or two. You know, like, we can get more tarts. I've got a big queue of guys that just need Gift of Reason. I've got really high gym income with Nexus up. We can recover from this. But, like, all these commanders have items. A lot of these guys have been converted, you know, into white mages, and that took time and money. You know, not everybody has, but the guys who haven't have items on them, so they're tough enough to survive. You know, we've got a Tomb King with 25 gems of gear on him. You know, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of investment. But it's not crazy, right? This isn't like an end game Doom stack that represents like 600 gems. You know, this is more like, I don't know, like 150, 200 gems. So, you know, a lot of times if you have like an in-game army with a ton of summons in it, all the mages, you've got, you know, 30 mages with items on them, something like that. If you lose that, you're kind of boned. Or you're usually at least boned in a region. And that's not the case here. Anyway. But yeah, we're just marching this out like, yeah, come and get it. Let's fight. We also have reinforcements down here, which we'll be allocating to the correct spot. We're not going to... my original plan was to eat Patala and finish them off. But that's not part of our current plan. Patala also probably is going to attack through here. So we may raid some of this, we may not. I can't remember exactly what we do. I think for now we're kind of leaving this to Patala, but we probably will attack it later. I mean, Patala is a four province state. So this is more, you know, you also have to appreciate a player who's excited about doing their turns even when they're 4 provinces, you know? They're like they're in the game, they have a mission, they've made one up for themselves. We're going to punch Arco really hard, and you're like, all right, let's go do it. But yeah, this army's pegged to come down here and take this stuff. And what I'm also counting on, and you can kind of see it through my movements here, is I'm counting on not having one really good stack that they can't fight, because I don't think that's the case. I think if Arco mans up, they could probably kill any stack I could put together if I'm not like pulling all my mages. Like if I bring 30 or 40 mages, I can probably win, but I don't want to, because they can just like flames from the sky them or something. So my plan isn't to do that. And if Arco brings like 100 mages, he's going to win a fight, you know? And he might not even lose too many mages. Maybe get some converted to Soulless himself or something. But yeah, I mean, Arco can totally win a fight against me. But what I'm counting on is if he wins a fight in one location, we're going to have enough pressure that we're going to still take major key objectives off of him, like forts or thrones or capitals and other places, because he doesn't have enough armies to kill all of my armies. And that's the main thing we're leaning on. Now, this move is kind of contrary to that, because we're basically putting a big army in the field and we're saying, come fight me. And when you're employing this strategy where your opponent can win Doomstack fights and they have a Doomstack, in general, you don't want to throw out your Doomstack. But I kind of just want to hit the gas pedal and cause some attrition. And I have reinforcements here. If I didn't have reinforcements, I wouldn't do it. But anyway, that's my thinking. Interestingly, for the historian buffs out there, this was also the strategy that Lincoln understood, like Abraham Lincoln in the American Civil War, that he had a really hard time getting his early generals to understand. And that was basically that they were going to... I forget exactly how Lincoln said it, but basically with the Union being on a circumference and the Confederacy being interior, the Confederacy was also much faster at moving around. Like, they had much faster troops. They had more agile generals. And they also, because, like, if you want to move an army around a curve, they have to go like this, right? They have to travel a circle. But if you want to move interior to the circle, you go in a straight line, more or less. I mean, following roads. So he understood that the Confederacy had a better ability to concentrate forces, but the Union had far more forces. The problem with concentrating is you can only be in one place at one time. So the plan that Lincoln basically came up with the Union that ended up winning the war in the end, after a fair amount of kind of failed execution, was basically put a ton of pressure on places. If the enemy shows up in force, because they did like a force concentration, then just back off and keep that army pinned down there. If they have done that, then what that will mean is generals in other places should have a green light to just charge ahead and take territory. And then that will be a crisis because they're taking some city. And then the troops then have to march back. And so they get pulled away from this objective they were trying to keep up here. And then that's when you get your green light to push back in. Basically like that. Or, they end up committing troops to defend an impossible position because they don't have enough, like they're not able to reinforce. And you envelop them and take their stuff. Anyway, there's a lot of... My point here is when you have more armies than your opponent has, so long as you're not having to fight through choke points and there's a sufficient quantity of targets for you to hit, you have a major advantage. So long as you can adequately dance with your opponent, dodge their fights, and take objectives. And that's basically what we're trying to do here. All right, so enough with the history lesson. Let's go to turn 81. Turn 81. So we had put up Arcane Nexus last turn, if you recall. And Mommy Milkers has gotten hit by a giant thunderbolt, followed by 100 spears, followed by a superior soul slay. But what the... Mommy Milkers survived. She sure did. Because we were preparing for them to do this. They did a wish to kill my god. So some of you might not have seen that in the game. I knew that these idiots would... Not idiots. They're not idiots at all. I just say idiots. But I knew that they would do this because they don't want to... They know we put a ton into the Dispel. And so they're going to try to kill us. So the Soul Slay... It's basically a 4-pin bonus normal Soul Slay. So like a normal Soul Slay is versus 12 MR, 12 versus MR. So this is going to be basically, I think, like 16 versus MR. That's not going to win very often against 40. I had this gear on them the whole time, right? Our protection is sick. It's 25. Some of that's actually thanks to the little bonus earth we have. But also we have a lead shield and this pretty nice armor. And we also have pretty good base natural protection. So all that combined, yeah, the javelins aren't going to do anything. I think it says the spears. I think it's javelins, but I could be wrong. So I think you have a chance to block it. Or maybe it's spears. I think it might be 14 spears. The thing though is, I think it's an attack roll. Like maybe I can't. And let me check. Okay, so this is wish to kill. You do wish to kill, and then you type in the nation name. Test it in a test game, like with the enemy nation, and type it in just to make sure you do it right. You don't want to waste 100 pearls typing it in wrong. All right, the named nation's pretender is hit with 150 armor negating lightning strike. Now this is tricky because I don't think we had any resistance to that. So we were planning on basically just face tanking that. The reason I had the Ring of Regen on actually is because we're going to take a fair number. I had this on last turn. We can go look at it. I was expecting these guys to cast. I was actually expecting them to cast 2 or 3 wish to kills. Basically, I don't want to get afflictions. That's why I had it on. It's going to reduce my chance of getting afflictions in this whole garbage. So yeah, this one we basically just face tank, but we have enough hit points. We can face tank a lot of them. Then we get 25 untyped, non-magical spear attacks, each doing 12 damage. Defense can negate these. And I assume there's no harassment penalty either. So if we come back and look at our god for those, we've got 16 defense. We're going to block a lot of those there. And then we've got 25 protection. We're going to block the rest there. It's not going to do anything. These 25 non-magical spear attacks for 12 damage might do a couple damage. You know, it's not much. It's like her being surrounded in combat for like 1 turn. This is nothing, right? And then a Soul Slay with 5 plus 5 pin bonus. The Soul Slay counts as astral, so the astral pretenders have a better chance to resist. All right. So it's a 5 bonus, but we've got 9 astral, right? So we're effectively 49 magic resistance against astral attacks, like this Soul Slay. So it's 49 versus 16, literally never going to happen. Any of the bonuses to penetration on the caster, such as astral levels or penetration increasing items, have no effect. I don't think the target of this is affected by Blood Vengeance either, though that would be hilarious. So could this work? It theoretically could. They would need basically, at a minimum, it's basically going to come down to how many of these they have. The 50 armor negating. So, yeah. They would need at least 4, maybe 5 casts of it. And then if I put on like a copper plate, they would need 4 times, twice as many, which I could do. Like if they tried it again or something and did like 3 or 4 casts, I think there's still a good chance we survive. 5 casts, there's a good chance we die. How it's currently set up, because I don't have shock res. I would swap this out for a copper plate, which I'm not actually sure if I have one in inventory. I probably have one on some guy somewhere, but yeah. So we're basically immune to wish to kill. It's, on one hand, super cool they thought about it, because it shows that they're good players and understand the game. On the other hand, I'm also a good player and understand the game, and I knew they would do it, and so we put on the gear to protect. If I didn't have any of the gear on, I'll just show you what we look like. Like, if we were just sitting around with, like, random forge gear, and, like, we didn't have any protection, all of a sudden we're now maybe going to take, like, I don't know, 40, 50 damage from that, and then our MR is still high enough, there's no way it's going to work. Because it's going to be 16 against 26. That's almost never going to work, but then it's not 26. It's actually 37 because of our astral. There's just no way it's going to work. So I think if they thought about it, if I didn't have the proper gear on, but they would also be kind of banking on me not having any chest gear on. Because really, as soon as I put armor on, it's only going to be the lightning which does damage, or I get unlucky with the MR roll. But as we discussed, especially due to the astral affecting it, I'd have to get tremendously unlucky. So yeah, it's a good idea, but I think not fully thought through, is I guess what I'm trying to say. Okay. I believe she's wishing for gems. There's a chance she's wishing for strength, too. There's a reasonable argument for that. So that was exciting. I was happy to see that. Minus 100 pearls for them. This is kind of funny. Some monkeys came and tried to steal me away. Didn't work. Let's see if there's anything else funny happening here. Oh, yeah. This is kind of interesting. Look how this works. So they got this scout. I'm not actually sure how this part works. Maybe if they fatigue him out. Yeah, he's fatigued out now. Yeah, I think they just have to fatigue you out. And if you're fatigued out from the monkeys, you get flown away. So they have a sleep touch, and then they fly you away. I love that. What a cool spell. Record of creation, don't find anything. Wow. Got hit by an arrow, but we survive. Oh, they cast it twice. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, this... If I can have any armor on... Because this is going to do 100 damage just from the air portion of it. So they would need the 25 times 14. They would need those to do... Like, if they did 3 damage a hit and it's 25, that would have killed. So, yeah, if I wasn't wearing any armor, this would have killed me, probably. But it wouldn't have been the Soul Slay part. It would have been taking damage. Maybe, because also defense. If I wasn't wearing any... If I was completely naked, there's a chance this would have killed me. That they wished to kill twice. But this is it is very hard, especially an Astral Titan that has any gear on in the late game. I would say just don't try it. You're wasting... I'm actually happy. So Alm is worried because I was telling him they were casting this at me. And he was worried because we're going to lose Nexus, which we both, emptied our treasury to do. But I was like, dude, look, I've run the numbers. We need to be thankful every time they cast it. Because they're just literally taking their pearls and they're putting it in, the state lottery. And they might as well have burned it. It's gone. There's a very minute chance it works. And if it does, then, Nexus is down. I'll call my god back in a turn. We'll put it right back up. It's not like they win the game if they kill my god for a turn. We'll just, we lost 1,200 pearls. The odds of them spending 1,200 pearls and killing my god, less than 1 in 100 probably. It's really that bad. Anyway. Now, like I said, if they were able to if they had 5 casters that could all do it at the same time, there's a chance they would do it. But then, if I saw them do it, especially if they got close, if they did 3, I probably would swap out the Armor of Souls, which is a great piece of armor, but I would swap that out for the Copper Plate. The other thing I could do, which could help, is wishing for magical power. And that would give me Air 3, which would give me 5 chakras, which would be kind of cool. I could also wish for strength. I'm not actually sure what we're wishing for. She cast Twiceborn this turn as well. So for her to lose the global... this changed, by the way, in Dominion 6, I believe. So if you're Twiceborn and die, the global will go down, but not the case in Dominions 5. So she was also protected if she got killed by the Soul Slay, which is basically impossible given this setup. If she got killed by the Soul Slay, the global would still go down. But because we've Twiceborned her now, if she got killed by the shock portion or the spear portion, she would come back as a white mage and the global would stay up. Also, in Dominion 6, you can't Twiceborn pretenders anymore, which kind of sucks. But I understand it. They're trying to make it less gamey. But, well, can't have any fun. We get Flames from the Sky in the Yellow Caves. That's here. And then there's a battle where Arco rides out and attacks us. with a tart that has the summit, which is a sick-ass item, the barrier, which is a pretty good shield. I mean, it's probably the best shield, but in terms of its overall impact on the battle, yeah. But yeah, I mean, it gives 15 fire shock res, sick, strength, and then it's a 11 parry, 40 protection shield. That's pretty huge. The summit is amazing because it does an enormous amount of damage and is armor piercing with 12 attack and 6 defense. It's probably the first or second best weapon in the game. Crown of Titans, this makes him a little bit bigger. And then Monolith Armor is sick, gives regen 10, but also 30 body protection. So it's very easy for this chassis to get up to like 40 protection. Winged Shoes, Bracer of Protection, and then this is kind of interesting. Grow Monster. This will summon random monsters around them, and this can be nice for like evocation bait. So in this case, like maybe it would help keep me from like bane firing him or life draining him. Unfortunately, my worms are going to kill anything that gets summoned. He's got this guy to do Body Ethereal. He's got this guy to do Moss Body and maybe Quickness. He should have cast Quickness. I don't think he's going to. Moss Body, Body Ethereal, Moss Body. He should have put a gem on to do Quickness, especially with this nice gear. And now he's jumped right in here. And he is deleting worms left and right. But, unfortunately for him, we have Sauromancers. And I know some of you have been typing away, all addled in the comments before, about how tarts need to get used. Now, this guy could have been better, because you could have also fluffed him with another 10% regen. This is something that's pretty easy for Arco to do. He could have had Quickness on him. His MR could be higher. You know, like he could have had Iron Warriors put on him. Otherwise, though, this is fine. You know, he's done Temper Flesh. He should have done Iron Will before he jumped in. But honestly, I don't think it's going to be that. Maybe he does kill... I can't remember how this battle goes. Okay, there we go. Disintegrate. Now, if he had done other things, like done MR, we would have still drained life, killed him, and eventually probably disintegrated him. You know, okay, if you got his armor, his MR to like 26... maybe, but still drain life, bane fire. I think he would have gotten yeeted anyway. So that was a very desperate move. And then we attack into the fort here, and there's really nothing inside. He puts up Hal and then gets yeeted. So that's a new throne for us. Super easy throne. +1 magic, which is kind of cool. Hidden gold mine. Wood hinge, and we get a mine. We put this under siege, though we lose a white mage here. We're rolling out here with tarts. He's got a small army, but reasonably well buffed. He's got Legions of Steel on these guys. A lot of these guys have been fluffed with Ethereal, which is really good against us. We don't have magic attacks. It's one of the reasons early game we're really worried about stuff like, whatchamacallit, fire elementals and things. And now he's doing Starfires and a bunch of stuff. Our worms are making contact. We have... Oh, that looks like Liquefy. Is he casting Liquefy? Yeah, this guy's casting Liquefy. This guy right here. Yeah, that's a great spell to cast. Probably the best spell, actually. People were thinking, like, other things, like cleansing waters and stuff. No, Liquefy might actually... Surprised we didn't see more of it. It's probably the best spell against worms. I mean, worms have really good MR. But, like, here I didn't do anti-magic. So we're actually reasonably susceptible to it. And I tried to do anti-magic, but this is kind of a lower commitment one. Now, we do have Rigor Mortis up, so the Communion is going to go to sleep. They are still, you know, we just saw another Liquefy go off here. Gifts of Heaven. We're definitely losing a lot of worms. Liquefy, by the way, is also not going to proc Blood Vengeance. One of the reasons it's real nice. But everybody's gone to sleep. We're doing some Bane Fires here. I think we might... I forget how we lose a Sarumancer. Apparently we do. They're both alive right now. I think we probably missed a Banefire and blew ourselves up. But we lost a White Mage Sarumancer. But Arco lost a lot. They lost now, this was 30-something mages. So that's a big deal. That basically means this fort's now ours. We're just going to move in. You can see we didn't lose anything of importance here, right? We're moving in with a bunch more worms. The worm factory is ready to go. You know, we've taken this. We're going to be moving in and raiding this with, like, really light raids. This was the place where our golem hit again. Wait, which golem was this? Oh, we didn't reset the Horror Harmonica Golem, because the Horror Harmonica Golem isn't really like a super combatant killer. Or at least that's not how I'm conceptualizing him. We're trying to shut down his blood economy right now. And Horror Harmonicas are really good at that, because one thing horrors are really good against is chaff. And what you tend to have in blood economies is a lot of chaff. And while you can have anti-thug setups or things to deal with horrors, often you don't have things to deal with like 4 big horrors, which is what you tend to get with Horror Harmonica. Oh no, he got sent home, so we just magic phased him. Yeah, so we magic phased him again. We might magic phase him here this next turn. I can't remember where we send him, but we're trying to get rid of the blood economy, and you can see we did quite a fine job. We killed, again, 3 curs, a Mount Fiend, and one of the Vampire Lords. The Vampire Lord will come back, the curs won't. Neither will all the chaff. And this chaff is a really important part of the blood economy engine, so just wiping it out. You know, Arco will be able to rebuild it with time, but we're not planning on giving him that time. So we've got this army here and this army here that just took this throne. We're going to combine them and put this fort under siege. And we're now starting to threaten his capital. This is Arco's cap. And as we put pressure on the cap, it's going to make it harder for him to defend this portion of his empire, where we're going to go ham and attack. So, yeah, we're going to re-intensify pressure on Marignon. We're going to come over here and raid this. And we are also going to launch our first attack onto this throne. Or not to this throne, but this fort above the throne. And basically the same stuff you've seen before. The only difference is we've got more Banefire casters. We forward position the Banefire casters, and they're not doing anything. They're not doing invulnerability or something turn 1. Straight to the Banefire, right? That's how we're doing it. We got Army of Gold, the little weapons of sharpness. You guys have seen this before. We're kind of just mass producing these armies. Now, while I had mentioned earlier that we're going to leave a lot of this land for Patala to attack, we are going to come down here and start doing a little bit of raiding. So this is just a very budget raiding squad doing corpse candles, which is a really good distraction. And then we'll have these guys here as well. This is not, I don't think, a full commitment. And then also we have moved up here and there was really nothing. So Arco was just kind of waiting to see what we moved in. Now, previously there had been an army here and here, and I don't know where they went, to be completely honest with you. This was like 400, this was like 300 or something, and now I can only see a 280 army. So if he was probing, I don't know where he went. And this is still owned by Calum. So it's not like there can be an Arco army inside. It must have moved back. That's all I can think of. Also, some interesting movement here. There's an Archdevil. Very dangerous to move this guy around. He's basically moving him around as a Phoenix Pyre Thug. I'm sure, I can't remember what we're specifically deploying, but I'm sure we're planning on killing this guy. This should be illegal when you're fighting me. I will not let such luxury thugs go unpunished. Same with this, totally illegal. Has Astral didn't even bother putting gems on him for returning. Means we're definitely going... This guy is probably a higher priority than this guy. So we'll see what kind of special delivery we have for these guys in the next episode. I don't think I have enough stuff in the theater to kill both of these. But I might. In the magic phase. We're also starting to move forward some reinforcements. Also, the war with Erythia has started. So, Arthia has attacked here. They've got a Wraith Lord and some Ghosts. Very cool. They've attacked here with just a few little idiots. So that's nice. We take this off Arco. I believe we're also going to war over on this side near Phalegra. So here's Phalegra. If you can remember way back when. And Arthia has moved an army out here. Now, Arthia, this is another thing where if we give them a straight up fight, they can probably beat us. Like we could put together an army that they couldn't easily kill, but that army would be very vulnerable to other things. So our expertise is not going to be in doom stacking per se. It's going to be in having a lot of armies. So what I want to do is, if he's going to just roll it, I think he's got an obvious move, which is come out here and take Phalegra, right? Like, if this is his first objective, taking Phalegra, then this is his pretty obvious first move. So we're going to move a pretty huge stack here. And we're just going to fire up with everything we've got. Divine Blessing, Skeletal Lead, all the stuff. But also a fair amount of Banefire support. And the idea is maybe we catch them out. I think I'm fine taking a big, like I said, I'm fine taking big battles, but I don't want to tee up an army where he basically knows what I have and say, come fight me, unless I think I can replace everything in that army very quickly. And we kind of can do that here. I've got a lot of reinforcements lying around. So it's kind of okay to take a fight. But he also... this is less greedy or less aggressive than like moving onto a fort. Because he's not going to be able to test this. He has no idea what I'm moving here. But if I were to like move on to a fort, then he could test it and whatever and come up with an army to kill it. So anyway, I think there's a lot of reasons this is a good move. It's the likely move for him to make if he's going to take Phalegra. I can replace all the losses I take here. He has no idea what I'm doing. But he also knows that Arco and I are fighting like hard. So he needs to go ahead and make his move. So I'm expecting him to attack. We're also raiding with like very budget squads of Tomb Worms here. This guy's just doing blessing. I don't know why this guy isn't blessing. Anyway. Also doing kind of weird counter raiding things. Like he attacked here actually and hilariously lost because I had PD dumped this. I think he did elementals or something. But we've got like a tremendous amount of PD here. So we barely won. But if he does it again, we're going to come in with Lamashtas. And that will definitely mess him up, especially if he's got, like... not definitely. Like, these could still fail against, like, fire elementals and stuff, but there's also a pretty good chance they land on mages. So, yeah, we're going to move him here, and if he does another little mage advance, it should work. And we're moving counter raiders here just with corpse candles, just to add something, maybe... help Jim bait him. We've got a fair amount of PD here as well. Yeah, so that's exciting. We're continuing to send people in to get Twiceborn in the lake. And yeah, I think that's it for this episode, guys. Pretty fun turn, man. I'm looking back on this. I love this. This is it's really fun fighting coalition wars when you should be coalitioned. You know, maybe we kind of should have been a little bit earlier, but there's so much to do. And yeah, I just remember this. This is a very fun portion of the game, fighting these guys. Erythia, by the way, is going to have some amazing plays they do, and Arco is going to have some really good holds. They've kind of been... There've been some unforced errors, though, at the start of the war for them. And they're also using super combatants in a way that shows that they mostly understand how to use them, and they understand what good super combatants are, kind of. But they probably haven't had them picked off in a game before, like I'm picking them off here. And once it's happened to you, it's a lesson you don't easily forget. And that's one of the reasons I'm usually very cautious about, like, just bulldozing and kind of deploying super combatants and running around with them. Because if you do, and there's a good player on the other end, they're just going to kill them. So you'll get to see some of that too. I mean, we've already seen some of it, but yeah, they're going to have some pretty interesting army battles too coming up. So that'll be a lot of fun. And some of you are probably thinking, because I've kind of said I think I can fight everybody, that the game's in hand. There are going to be countless tomb worms that are going to die in the upcoming turns. They're going to die to Arco. They're going to die to Erythia. There's going to be a lot of dead snakes. So tune in next time and you'll get to see that. Until then, take care.